Good day, my brothers and sisters, and welcome to Namaste Today, a spiritual way to start your day. I'm your host, psychic astrologer, Sensei Christopher Witecki, friend to the world and sensei to serious joy. This audio blogcast is for Tuesday, January 10th, 2017. Welcome, soul family, and Namaste. Well, thank goddess Mercury is direct. Life moves forward today, and today I think we are feeling those effects. In fact, I argue you might have to cross an emotional bridge, and that might make you quite irritable. So today in our zodiac weather, we're going to talk about where that irritability may come from. And later, in your tea time, one of our viewers asked me about the difference between a galactic center and a midheaven. I think it's time we talk about the holy trinity of fate, 3 places in your chart you might want to examine. But first, let's get deep on today's mood and your zodiac weather. This zodiac weather is for Tuesday, January 10th, 2017. Well, my prediction for the global weather today is sunny with a real chance of irritability. I argue you might feel very vulnerable emotionally. We have a number of places that we're going to be breaking through any second now. And today with the moon in Cancer, everyone is emotionally sensitive and requires a little self-nurturing. Not to mention, it's countdown to a full moon that will happen on Thursday. Let's take a look at the planets. Well, today you will be feeling it. In fact, today, step 21, when it starts to get fun, is the ruling degree. I think with Mercury direct and step 21 ruling the day, you will see an emotional bridge, a new door open up, an opportunity to change or shift your trajectory. It might be that information finally comes in after Mercury went direct. It may be that you're now on top of the mountain and you have a new view. What may get in the way of this view are your feelings. The moon moves into Cancer today, officially opposing the sun and beginning our countdown to a full moon on Thursday. That means as the moon goes to the early degrees of Cancer, you may be very irritable today. The planet Venus is now conjuncting Neptune and will cross Neptune in the next 36 hours. And that means we are literally opening up Venus to our spiritual calling, Neptune. And Neptune's at step 9, so the right action to take. The only problem is we may not know the right action to take. It's going to be something that we have to feel out, something that you have to feel out and feel what's right for you. The problem with this is the sun is in Capricorn. And in Capricorn, we like absolutes. We like control. We like to know exactly what the consequence will be or not be. And so this is where the irritability lies. You may have to cross a bridge of uncertainty, some sort of rite of passage. You'll have no knowledge. You don't know what's around the blind corner, and the only thing you can do is feel it out. Now, don't worry too much. This feeling it out is really the countdown to a full moon at step 22, which is I feel this and I feel something else at the same time, the 2 plus the 2. And as I had described in my weekly video, we have Jupiter at 22, Saturn at 22, Juno at 22, and the moon will be 22 on Thursday. This is a quantum shift, and today, believe it or not, is the beginning of that quantum shift. Your feelings today and what you open up to will begin to lead you down a path. Now, I've said it before and I will say it again. Fate is taking over. In other words, I believe that we're in good guidance here, that something we signed up for in the past is in fact moving forward. The only way you know if you're on the right path, however, is if it feels safe, if it feels genuine. And not only on a certain fated path, but I believe the story you were born to live is in progress, and we're being brought to that. So listening to your feelings and feeling out what your heart agrees with, that is the absolute direction to point. The other thing I want to point out before I let you go is protection. Protection basically means shelter. Are you sheltering your feelings from bullshit? Are you sheltering your feelings from the hard path? Are you sheltering your feelings from things that you can, in fact, have under your power to prevent? So it's up to you to really take care of your feelings and shelter them so that you can honestly trust your feelings to guide you on the right path of what is right and what is wrong. Because the planets do show everyone is emotionally vulnerable on this particular full moon in Cancer. So with fate taking over, I thought with today's tea time, we could talk about the holy trinity of fate, the galactic center, the midheaven, and the planet Juno. So without further ado, go steep yourself some tea, and let's have our daily tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is the Holy Trinity of Fate. And this is what I look at with planets as far as how do we kind of tell what our fate is. And I use 3 planets, and it comes from a viewer who asked what the difference between the galactic center was and our midheaven is in classic astrology. And if you're an astro nerd like myself, I thought I would share with you some of my thoughts on this because I think they're very telling in your natal chart. Something you can talk to an astrologer or myself about if you get a reading with me, or look it up for yourself to see where these planets and asteroids are in your life. The first point of interest today is the galactic center. The galactic center is the center of our galaxy where everything spins around, and it is approximately at 27 degrees Sagittarius. So whether you have it printed out in your chart or not, it is always sitting there at 27 degrees Sagittarius. But it wasn't always there. Before the Mayan shift, it was at step 26 Sagittarius. So in December of 2012, when we went through the Mayan shift, technically the galactic center moved to the next degree. Now, my guides have always told me that this place in the chart is very sacred because it ends up demonstrating what role you will play in the galactic play on stage. So where will you be in the big picture of things, of the universe and everything? But also psychically, as I've kind of done many, many readings, I felt from the other side that it also has the importance of explaining kind of what you promised you would do for God. Like, okay, God, I'll go down here and do this, and I promise I'll do this. So it's kind of like what the universe is counting on you to do. And so in that way, it is a huge indicator of fate. So if you look in your natal chart in astrology and see where 27 or 26 degrees Sagittarius lies, this is the part of your life you promise to shine in and follow your senses, follow your truth. And I think we actually do it anyways. I think wherever you find your galactic center, you'll see it's a place that you really can't help but follow your truth. Mine, for instance, is in my house of love, the 5th house. And so I can't help but follow my heart. I can't help but teach people to follow their heart. I think that's the greatest thing on earth, and I'm sure that's what I promised God I would do, is come down and tell everyone, hey guys, let's follow our hearts, let's have some serious joy. Now Mercury, as it goes direct, and has in the last 24 hours, is technically conjoining the galactic center, which means our minds are being aligned with our calling on earth. And by March, Saturn will conjunct the galactic center, which in my opinion means we will know without a doubt what our calling is. Everybody on Earth, at least the next calling, right? So galactic center, look it up in your chart. It is your calling and your agreement to God. And the cool thing is that bell is going to ring here by March. The next spot I always look at is the midheaven. The midheaven, of course, is that 12 o'clock spot. Depending on what house system you use, the midheaven can be directly on the 10th house cusp, or it can swing between the 10th house and the 9th house if you know your astrology. But the midheaven literally tells you the way the story is going to end up. So whatever your midheaven is pointing to, you're going to end up having a story that resembles that degree. Or you could say that your entire lifetime will end up being that sun in that sign with that particular degree. Many of my clients who get readings come to me and ask, what is my purpose on earth? And I go straight for the midheaven to understand where it is you're headed and where it is you're trying to become by the end of this life. And sometimes I used to say in readings, this is the sign you're working to be, because I really think that that's the case. So the midheaven very powerfully tells us where our destiny is, where our legacy is, what we're aiming to be by the end of our lifetime. Very fate-telling. Now the third asteroid I'm going to put out there today is Juno. And that's because Saturn is conjuncting Juno today, which is pretty interesting, meaning the God universe is telling us, Saturn, to take responsibility for our Juno. Well, what's Juno anyways? Sounds like a card game made by Uno, right? Juno is actually an asteroid that represents where our sweet spot in marriage can be. So where we just get along super well. And it's not just getting along super well. It's the wife or the husband or the partnership that you actually need. Because a lot of people want a lot of things, but they actually need a certain type of partnership or a certain type of relationship. So you may chase after one thing, but most people usually end up with their Juno. Now you can look at this from a relationship perspective literally. For instance, my Juno is in Sagittarius, so that would seem to suggest that my best destiny or the easiest going relationship I could be with would be with a Sagittarius. By the way, I don't think I've ever dated a Sagittarius, so who knows, right? But also at the same time, my Juno is in my 5th house, my house of love, which tells me that the relationship that I need to worry about the most, or the one that counts the most, in my case, is my relationship to my heart. That's the relationship that counts the most. And in a way, that kind of shows us our fate, because once the client begins to settle down, get comfortable in their energy, as they pleasantly age on Earth, I think they realize on their own that the Juno spot is the best spot where they truly love to live. And so I think Juno ends up showing a hand of fate, particularly where people will end up once they age and understand themselves. Now, what's interesting is Saturn is on Juno right now, which means the universe is telling us to get onto the path of what is the easiest, most effortless relationship we can find. It's time for all of us to find that Juno sweet spot with ourselves and with others, and it's time for all of us to embrace our Juno right now, says Sirius Saturn conjuncting Juno at 22 degrees right now. Another cosmic degree for fate. So if you're an astro nerd like me, check out your galactic center, your midheaven, and your Juno, and see what story they paint together. Now for those who are watched over my personal Sensei service, today at 3 o'clock in your eye candy, I'm going to tell you where your Juno is in your chart and where you need to be paying attention right now in your life. That's at 3 o'clock in your daily eye candy. And for those who don't know, my personal megascopes are up now for immediate download. These are MP3s that last about 20 minutes long, and they're based on the sun sign or rising sign. This is the first time I put these out there for people to be able to purchase, and so far people are giving me great comments. So if you need a little guidance to where everything is going, you can also learn about the megascopes at SeriousJoy.tv. Okay, my friend, that's all I have for today. I hope you are really good at nurturing yourself and not feeling too irritable or too exposed. Remember, I love you, and live, love, be.